Hello everyone, so this arrived today. It's a levitating moon lamp from a company called VGAzer. Now the story behind this is that earlier this week I went to have a look at an art installation in Plymouth, which was a large sculpture called Helios by an artist called Jerome, and came away quite moved by it. I've already put up a short bit of video on the channel. Take a look at it, see what you think if you haven't looked at it already. Yeah, I found it quite moving and inspiring and meditative, all kinds of things, provoked all kinds of moods in me, but I enjoyed the visit. And since then I've just been looking at various videos on YouTube that people have put up of visiting Helios at different locations in the UK, but also other sculptures and artwork that Jerome has created in the past. He has, I think he's done one of Mars and he's done one of the Moon, as well as other totally different types of art. But it's these sort of spherical, grandiose kind of objects, illuminated. They just have a, they just impress me. And on one of the videos that I was watching, the provider just left a comment that the Helios sculpture reminded them of these levitating moon lamps, and they left a link. Possibly they're an affiliate, I don't know. Doesn't matter. But I thought, yeah, I'd like to have something in my own home that I could just look at and contemplate, that had a sort of similar visual appeal. And yeah, it arrived after a couple of days. Didn't take long to arrive. They're not cheap. It was about £62, I think I paid for it. That might be, not sure if that's including the postage or not. But I'm really glad I've got it. I'm really pleased. So I thought I'd put up a little bit of footage of it, show it to you. It works off of a kind of an induction system, so that it's a sealed sphere, but inside is a light and some kind of magnet that works in opposition to the polarity of the magnet in the base. And the light is lit by induction, magnetic induction process. So it's internally lit, but also is raised in the air. So I could actually, I'm filming this in the dark, so that you see the effect of the lamp at its best. But I could actually put something underneath this. I could completely, surround it with my hands or whatever. It's just simply being held in the air by the magnetic force. Things that I would prefer maybe, but I don't. It's not necessarily big thhave It spins on its own, and I have spun it the other way, and it's carried on in that sort of frictionless movement for quite a while, but it does revert back to spinning in this, what would this be, an anti-clockwise direction. Now the moon is a little bit curious for a number of reasons. I mean, the famous, remarkable measurement of it is that it's exactly the right distance between the Earth and the Sun for it to be able to completely block the sun, fill the same space in the sky as the sun when it does eclipse the sun totally. And that's simply as the mathematics of its diameter, in comparison to the distance that it is between the Earth and the Sun. So that's quite remarkable in one respect, although the Moon is moving away from the Earth very slowly. I think it's about 4 centimetres a year, so eventually that won't be the case. And the Earth's spin, the speed at which the Earth rotates, is partly dependent on the kind of gravitational effects, the pull of the Moon and vice versa. So the Moon does spin, yes, but the other remarkable fact about it is that it spins at just the right rate for the same face of the Moon to always be facing the Earth. So we never see what is known as the dark side of the Moon. So from the standpoint of ourselves on Earth, it doesn't look as though the Moon is spinning. It actually is. There's a very kind of marginal effect where you see a slightly different aspect of the Moon from left and right, that changes over the course, I don't know, of a year or a month maybe, but to all intents and purposes, the same face of the Moon faces us the whole time. But the Moon does spin, but surely not as fast as this model is spinning, in scale. It's spinning like a top, once every couple of seconds, so it wouldn't be spinning that fast. And I do find that element of the model a little bit counter to the relaxing effect that it would otherwise have. It's a minor criticism. It must be something to do with the frequency of the electric current going through it, and the induction process giving it a spin, and it's always spinning in this anti-clockwise direction as well. So it's spinning too fast, and I'm not sure, but I wonder which direction the Moon does actually spin in. It would seem more natural for me for it to be spinning the other way. I don't know why. That's just my own supposition. So those two things apart, I might actually prefer it if it didn't spin at all. If I don't talk for a moment, you might be able to hear it's making a slight noise. I don't know if you heard that, whether the camera's close enough to it, but it's like a kind of steady creaking noise, which has to be something to do with the electrical current running through the base. But I think that current is itself the driver, literally, of the spin. So you could only change the speed of the spin by somehow changing the frequency of the electrical current. So that might be possible to do with the addition of some kind of transformer, something like that. I don't know, but that would add significantly to the price of the model anyway. And the other thing you can do with this model is, I've got it on white light at the moment, because that seems to me, this looks to me like the normal colour of the Moon reflecting the white light of the sun. But you can change the colour of it to some pretty hideous. You can have it permanently changing colour, which I find very unrelaxing. But you can, I'll put it on some of the colours that seem more natural. So there's a sort of yellowish kind of colour, and you've got that colour there. That's very similar to the sort of blood moon colour that you sometimes get when the Earth is between the sun and the moon. So it's a lunar eclipse, if you would. And then the light of the sun is being refracted through the Earth's atmosphere onto the sun. So you get this reddish effect because it's only the red wavelength that is of light that is actually reaching the sun. The rest of it is reaching the moon rather. The rest of the light from the sun is being blocked by the Earth. So you get that kind of colour, but you can get some hideous. I'll show you these. I apologise in advance for these. See, blue moon, famous in the songs, but I don't think there's any. A blue moon is doesn't refer to the colour of the moon. It's a second full moon within one calendar month, but it doesn't actually change colour. So you've got all these hideous purples and really gaudy colours, but so I much prefer that. And the other thing that I'm thinking of doing as well, that's got me enthused now about this, is that this is the actual model itself is a 3D print, and I'm thinking, toying with the idea, because you can get files and so on, and even kits to make other planets, to get them working in the same way. The only site that I've found so far, though, requires you to become a member and pay a monthly subscription fee, which I'm not happy to do. I would quite happily buy the file outright and do it that way, but I'm not prepared to make a long-term commitment, an annual kind of commitment to a fee or something like that, because I just don't think I will get value for money out of that site. But I am looking around to try and get STL files, maybe even just models. They don't have to be illuminated. I've got some files of some planets and so on, print those up and find a way of putting some magnets in and seeing if I can get them to levitate and even spin, maybe, I don't know. But then the internal illumination would be another step, but it's doable because I've seen it done. I've seen it done with these kits, so something to play around with in the future. But anyway, really pleased with this. It's nice little lamp, not very effective as a lamp, but it's sort of like a nighttime way of keeping a passageway or something slightly illuminated at night, so you don't have to switch the main lights on. I think it's a nice little pleasant ornament. So that's my review of it. Thank you very much for watching. See you on the next video.